Hey, welcome. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to correct run-on sentences. I'm going to give you a couple ways that you can correct this common mistake. So let's begin. So what exactly is a run-on sentence? Run-on sentence occurs when a writer connects two independent clauses with no punctuation. So this mistake is usually not accepted in English writing. So you want to have some sort of punctuation to connect those two independent clauses, which are also called main clauses or complete sentences. So it's not something you want to fall into. You may get a bad mark on your English test if you don't use some sort of punctuation between two independent clauses. So I've provided two examples here of that common mistake. So the first one is I walked to the movie. I ate a lot of popcorn. So you see here there is no punctuation at all between the two independent clauses. The first independent clause is being I walked to the movie. The next independent clause, I ate a lot of popcorn. So these sentences alone, each alone can stand on their own. They're complete sentences. Now, if you have two independent clauses together, you want to have some sort of punctuation in between them. So you can use a coordinated conjunction, you can use a semicolon, or you could just use a period to connect, to fix that mistake. So the next example here with a common mistake is I shouted at the professor, the students started staring at me. So again, you can see that we have two independent clauses here and they're not connected with any form of punctuation. So again, this is a common mistake known as a run-on sentence. And also just to give you another name that you may come across for a run-on sentence, it's also called a fused sentence. I believe it's called a fused sentence because you have two independent clauses which are put together with no punctuation at all. So I'm going to give you a couple ways that you can fix this mistake. So the first way you can correct this mistake, you can use a comma plus some form of coordinating conjunction. So either you could use for, and, but, nor, or any of those other normal coordinating conjunctions. So I'll give you a couple examples here, fixing the other sentences in the previous slide. So the first one is I walked to the movie, comma, and I ate a lot of popcorn. So you can see here I used the coordinating conjunction and a comma to separate those two independent clauses. So this is one way you can use to correct that common mistake, that run-on sentence. All right, so and usually you want to have the comma come before and, but that's another lesson. So the next example again, so I shouted at the professor, comma, and the students started staring at me. So they're supposed to be staring there, but it's for some reason it disappeared. All right, so again, you have two independent clauses here, and you're using a coordinating conjunction plus a comma. So that's one way to fix that mistake. All right, so another way you can correct a run-on sentence, you can use a period in between the two independent clauses. Since they can stand on their own, you can just use a period in between those two clauses. So again, I walked to the movie, period, I ate a lot of popcorn. So you can see here, they're separated by a period. I shouted at the professor, period. The students started staring at me. Again, you're separating both of them with a period. So this is another way you can correct that run-on sentence. Another way you can correct a run-on sentence, you can use a semicolon if the two independent clauses are closely related. So you want to make sure if you're writing two independent clauses, they have to be somewhat related. And in these two examples, you'll see that they are somewhat related. So I walked to the movie, semicolon, I ate a lot of popcorn. So since the two independent clauses are closely related, so when you go to a movie, you're usually going to eat popcorn, then in a sense these two sentences are closely related and you can use a semicolon to correct the run-on sentence. Again, the next one, I shouted at the professor, semicolon, the students started staring at me. Again, a semicolon is separating those two independent clauses. So that's another way you can correct the sentence. All right, so